So Quebec is a French province in the country of Canada, and the mission includes all of the Quebec province, and it also includes a little piece of Ontario, which includes Ottawa, the nation's capital, and some other very small cities going up north. And then the top of it also goes into Nunavut and the Northwest Territories. So I mean, there's no missionaries up there, but it's a very geographically large mission. And so in Quebec, they speak French, but it's not the same French as you would think. It's very, the accent is very peculiar, and in some cases it's really hard to understand unless, you know, I usually relate it to like Southern English, like from the Southern United States, because, like, you know, in general, like it sounds sort of the same, but if you get really out there into very small towns, you know, some of these people are very hard to understand. And so it's the same thing in Quebec. The culture is also very French. It's very reserved. They don't like change very much. They want to stay who they are. They want to, you know, keep to themselves and things like that. They're very adamant about keeping the French language, which is good. You know, to keep the French language in the culture, because you don't want to lose what makes you a culture. And the food is French. Food is very French. Well, sometimes one of the main staple foods of Eastern Canada is called poutine, and in French you would pronounce it poutine. Poutine. Well, in France you would say poutine, but in Quebec they say poutine, and it's French fries with cheese curd and gravy, and that's it, and it's delicious. Your first few times it's delicious, and then then it starts to get a little bit too much. But once a year, going along with the food theme, once a year they have this thing called cabane à sucre, or sugar shack, and up there, that's where maple trees are. That's where maple trees grow, and so that's where they harvest the maple syrup, and it's fresh, real maple syrup. And the stuff that you buy in the United States, like Aunt Jemima, that's not maple syrup. That's corn syrup with maple extract in it. But real maple syrup is probably the most delicious thing on the planet. And so during the harvest, in the springtime, they have this feast with like ketchup bottles full of maple syrup, like fresh, real maple syrup. And they just have like all of these different kinds of foods, and you just pile it onto your plate and drown the whole thing in maple syrup and you eat it. And it's the greatest part of that culture. The best part about Quebec is cabane à sucre, and they'll probably agree with me. And they have great music during the cabane à sucre. It's very great. They do this thing called tire d'érable, which means maple taffy or maple toffee. And it's the same thing as maple syrup, except it's boiled at a higher temperature, so it becomes a little bit thicker, and they keep it hot, and then they bring out this manger, or like a trellis, or like basically an animal feeder full of snow. It's clean and it's full of snow, and they pour this hot maple toffee into the snow, and they give you a popsicle stick, and you stick it in there and you twirl it around, and you have this big glob of maple goodness on the end of the stick with snow in it, and you just eat it like that. And you'll get a headache for sure, but it's delicious.